Hey everybody, we're back with episode 44 and we're in full costume. Check it. Bucky the Beaver here reporting for duty. And
I'm the dude from the Big Lebowski.
I like how you have to I'm the dude from the Big Lebowski. You guys asked for costumes and here we are. We are in full costume. It's not our best. However, we have been so busy, and when we realized, hey, this is the last episode for October and we have to do a costume, we didn't have anything, dude. So we were like, I bought this just for shits and gigs. And then he's an outfit repeater.
I am.
And that was your costume 2 years ago?
2 Halloweens ago.
Two Halloweens ago. So anyway, it doesn't matter because anything we put on is funsies. Anytime you get to wear a wig and dress up like someone else, it's always fun.
Let's go.
It's always a good time.
Good time.
So we are on episode 44.
44.
Which 4 is my lucky number, 2 and 4. So now we have 2 4s and it's going to be a good one. Because we put a prompt on Instagram and we asked you guys to either ask us anything or ask us for advice. Mm-hmm. And boy, did you guys clock in. We have so many. I'm not even joking. We could probably do 4 or 5 episodes with all of the questions that we got. We had a few questions, but most of them were advice, and they're all so good. And I know we can answer them all with conviction.
For sure.
Not as experts, but as expert parents.
Yeah.
We don't have a degree in parenting. We just have a School of Hard Knocks degree. And they're all really good.
Yeah.
When I was asking you, well, which one should we do? And you're like, just start from the first one and go all the way down.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some that are kind of pressing. One of them has to do with holiday. So I feel like I want to get that one down.
Sure.
And then we have a couple more that I feel like, it was speaking to my spirit. And I said, let's do it. So we're going to go ahead and start. But we had 3 questions. Mm-hmm. These are the 3 that I think we can answer today. And then we'll just kind of move on from there.
Perfect.
Sounds good?
Yes.
All right, the dude, here we go. This one, wait, let me preface this also by saying we are going to leave everyone's name out because some people wanted anonymous, some people didn't care, and some people didn't say anything. So just to play it safe, we're just going to say someone said this, okay? We're not going to mention any names, with the exception of my friend Kara Reed. Hers was the first question to come in, and I thought it was really cute because we are unapologetically Disney adults.
Yes.
And she asked, what would be your perfect Disney day? What would you say?
Well, to be honest, we just went.
Yeah.
And that was, to me, a perfect Disney day.
Which is?
Which is starting off having dinner. Mm-hmm. And not feeling rushed, not feeling pressed for time.
Yeah.
It's just where everyone's having a good time. Everyone's talking to everyone. Everyone's laughing. It's just good vibes.
Yeah.
I love that, especially at the beginning. And then it kind of sets the pace. All right, you guys ready to go ride rides? Let's go. And then we pick the rides we want to go on. We go to them, and it's just money, the entire time, all the way to the end. That's the perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's pretty specific.
Yeah.
What is your favorite place to eat at when we do have dinner? Because we kind of hop around.
Well, Carnation, is my favorite.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're from Southern California and we have Disney passes. And so we go all the time. And so we have the luxury, one, of having passes, but we also have the luxury of, because we have passes, we don't feel like we have to do everything in one day. But I know for some of you guys who come from, other places in the United States or even from, maybe another country to go to our California Disneyland because they are different around the world. I know you guys feel like, this is your only time you're coming. Maybe you're here for a couple of days and then you have to piecemeal it out, or you have just one day and you got to get it all in, right? But for us, I'm the same. I like my perfect Disney day. Honestly, it's one answer: being with my family, because you're lucky enough and privileged enough to even have passes to go to Disneyland, and just doing that with your family and the people you love the most. And we're all Disney adults and we don't care. That's my perfect Disney day. You know what I mean? So, but it's kind of twofold. So that would be my perfect Disney day with you guys. But my other perfect Disney day would be with Evelyn, my best friend. We have our wife date, and we do it like once, probably every 3 months, maybe.
I think so.
And just the two of us go, and we say "fuck them kids," and then we go to Disney for like several hours, maybe from like 10 to 5 or something like that. We go, we drink, we eat, we walk around, we talk shit, and then eat sweets, and that's it. And then we go home. We don't ride any rides. I don't think we ever have to this date. But Evelyn, tap in and let me know if we've ever ridden a ride. I don't think we have. I think we just go to enjoy each other's company. Oh, and we shop.
And that's a perfect
Disney date with my bestie. Yeah. So anyway, thank you for submitting your question, Kara. That was awesome because I know Kara's a big Disney person too.
Yeah.
So, okay. So, and then we had 2 more questions, not really asking for advice, but question number 2 was, what are your favorite affirmations? Yeah. This one's good because if you don't know what an affirmation is, look it up. It's called Google. But in all seriousness, having affirmations, which are like statements with conviction that you tell to yourself, it really helps you kind of like lock it in.
Sure.
Whatever that looks like.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah. I know anytime I feel anxious too, I'll say them to help me settle down. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I say them just to myself, you know. Can I share them?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just 3. So it's real quick. I always say I am grateful, I am abundant, and I am enough.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's it. Just real quick.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
Mine are a little more detailed, but they can be as simple or as detailed as you want them to be. Mine are money flows freely and frequently to me because I am a money magnet. I say that all the time. Sometimes I forget, so I guess I don't say it all the time, but when I forget or when I don't forget, I'm not even joking, you guys. Some kind of money will show up. Whether it's a check in the mail that I wasn't expecting, whether it's I find a quarter in the parking lot of the gym, or whether it's like, oh, one of your clients finally paid you after, I don't know, I just gave up on them. And then they, you know what I mean? And then they Zelle me or something. And I'm like, what's this? You know, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Or I'll get a refund out of nowhere or something. So I use that one a lot. I also say I deserve all the great things the universe is going to send me. Because that's how you open up the universe, you guys, to have blessings come your way, right? If you're always going, oh, I'm so broke or whatever, that not only are you releasing that into the universe, but your brain also believes everything that you say. So even if you're broke, switch it up and say, I am so excited that I am a millionaire, or I'm so excited that I have an abundance of cash in my bank account. Yeah,
like before, I remember I would say stuff like, if good things are happening, I would say stuff like, why is it happening to me? There's something's wrong. Something's going to happen.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
You'd be like,
but I'm
why
thinking,
me?
Yeah. I mean, or the other,
question the universe.
Yeah, the other shoe's going to drop. You start thinking all these negative thoughts. And then I learned, years later, you're blocking everything. You're not opening it up to accepting it. Yeah. And then you're blocking it. Yeah. And so none of that shit's going to come your way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. Okay. And then my other one is my past does not define who I am today. So here's why I say this, because I've had a really, kind of rocky past, guys. I've mentioned it a couple times. But for the longest time, I kept thinking, oh my gosh, like that happened, like I was in foster care or whatever. I was emotionally or just verbally abused by family members. And then I would start to believe those things like you're stupid, you're fat, you're this, you're that. And then I would think, as I got older, like, oh, that's the past, man. That doesn't serve me. Sure. So how can I change that? So then I just started telling myself nice things and started being nice to myself, which was very hard, by the way. And it's a learned behavior. So we could do a whole podcast on that, right? So I came up with that one. My past does not define who I am today. Sure. My successes are not tied to my self-worth. I was really bad if I didn't come in first place, or if I didn't win this big project, or if I didn't, whatever. If I wasn't winning, I tied that to my self-worth. Like, what the fuck? Sure. I'm a piece of shit. Like, that's when you start being mean to yourself, right? And then the last one is my self-worth is independent of everything that has to do with winning. Okay, let me read that again. My self-worth is independent of everything that has to do with winning. I learned that from good old Val because it was really hard for me not to tie winning to self-worth.
Sure.
Right? Yeah. So she had me doing exercises of, okay, what do you do and what are you proud of yourself? And I go, oh, well, and then she goes, before you answer, it can't have anything to do with winning. I was like, damn, Val, what the hell? And then I didn't have an answer. She's like, that's your homework. And I was like, well, hell's bells.
Well, did you figure out something?
Yeah.
What is it?
I'm a kick-ass mom. That doesn't have anything to do with winning.
Nice.
It has to do with my kids winning. That's different, right?
Yeah. And then it makes you understand the question better.
Yeah. I'm very compassionate.
Yeah.
Even though I can be an angry Santa, I am very compassionate. I have a lot of empathy. I am uber loyal.
Yeah.
Until I'm not.
Yeah.
Until you give me a reason not to be. So, like, it's things like that.
Yeah.
Question number 3. What do you wish you knew when you were in your 20s? So
that's a great question.
It is a great question. However, listen up, class. We already talked about that. That was in our previous lesson. So if you go back to episode 14, it's a great episode, and we talk about all the things we wish we would have known or, back in our 20s. The things that we know now, we wish we would have known back then.
Sure.
It's a really funny episode. It was, you guys really liked it. So, like, whoever wrote this, go back and watch episode 14.
14.
Cool? All right. Which is a good thing because that means you're new here, and we love that.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the tribe.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to get right into our advice questions. So, with our first one, which kind of hit me because I was literally just talking about this the other day. And the question is, how do you deal with grief during the holidays? I'll go first because I was literally just talking about this. Well, in our last episode, I think, or the episode before this, which was, one of my best friends for 20 plus years, Tasha, she passed away last November. So I don't know if I talked about it on the podcast. Anyway, I was talking to somebody about this, saying that this upcoming November and December is going to be really rough for me personally, because one of my best friends, Tasha, passed away last November, and so we always celebrated in some way, form, or fashion Christmas, right? Thanksgiving sometimes, not all the time, but she would always make like her famous mac and cheese every time, she would come to Christmas Eve with us, or we would have lunch and we would do things. So just thinking about that and knowing I'm going to have to deal with that it's giving me anxiety. I'll be honest, because I love her so much, and it gave me anxiety on tour because I was sad because all I kept thinking was she loved my kids so much that she would be over the moon watching the girls succeed in this way, and seeing Donnie grow up and going to culinary school and all that cool stuff. So that stuff makes me sad. I'm not gonna lie. It makes me sad. It makes me very anxious. But I've already been prepping for this, and I've been talking to Val, good old Val, my therapist, about this, and she asked me, like, what are some of the things that would help me make me feel better? And here's what I know. I have a weird aversion to death. And I don't know if it's weird. It's just my thing. It makes me think of like grown-ups when their coach died and he was like, sorry, death makes me weird, because he kept saying weird shit. You know what I mean?
David Spade.
Yeah. He's like, who wants to get their funeral on? I do, right? That is me in a nutshell.
Sure.
I act weird. I tell jokes. I get, and then I get really anxious and I won't go to the funeral, or I'll sit in the back and hyperventilate, smoke weed in the car before I walk in, that kind of thing. And so it makes me weird. So I told her the thing that makes me feel good about my best friend not being here or makes me feel better and not sit in the grief, is I remember the fun shit we used to do, or the funny stuff that she used to say or do all the time. So I told her I'm going to try and do a couple of things. Number one, I'm going to light candles, and I went ham at Bath & Body Works the other day for their candle sale. And I specifically bought one candle that I know she loves, and I'm going to burn that like on probably Thanksgiving and Christmas, or maybe another day, I don't know. I'm going to make their favorite food, which was mac and cheese, and then churros at Disneyland. So I'm going to have a churro. You know how the people pour out beer out of their 40 going, this one's for my homie so-and-so. I'm going to have my churro. I'm going to eat it and I'm going to say, this is for my homie Taco. Right? So I'm going to eat or make their favorite food. I want to make an ornament with their picture, a picture of us, the two of us on this ornament so I can hang it on my Christmas tree. I'm going to create a post on social. And then I'm just going to talk about her and the great things that I love about her and the things that we laughed about all the time. So it's basically the things I loved about her the most, or the funny things I remember about her, the things I cherished about her the most. I'm going to recreate those.
Sure.
Whether it's physical or just mentally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like I still, and this is what I'm talking about, I get kind of nutty when it comes to death, but I still send her TikToks and Instagram reels all the time because it makes me feel like she's still here.
Sure.
Anytime I see something that reminds me of her, I'll send it to her.
Are her accounts still?
Well, nothing's bouncing back, so I mean, I think they're going through, and if they're not, it makes me feel like they are. So,
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I am going to do for dealing with grief. Don't do what I used to do, which was just compartmentalize it and forget about it. Those people, right?
Yeah.
All the people that you love that have passed away, or for me specifically, I just wouldn't even think about them during the holidays because it was just too painful.
Yeah.
But I'm going to shake it up this year, guys. And I'm going to do things that make me remember her.
Yeah.
And then it feels like it's not so painful now that I have a plan. And it's not so anxious ridden. So that's what I'm doing. I don't know about you guys. You guys can try it.
That's so good.
Yeah.
You're such a good friend.
That's going to make me cry because I just feel like I'm not always a good friend.
You are.
But anyway.
That's so good. It makes me feel like mine's like, you know?
Because it probably is, but whatever. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, as a kid growing up, in the relationship I had with my parents, because I'm going to talk about my dad, been passed away for multiple years now. The relationship I had with him, like especially during the holidays, when I grew up and had a family of my own, was kind of non-existent. You know what I mean? And then when he passed away, right, which was right before the holidays, that was right before Thanksgiving, which was perfect for this for this question right here, or this advice right here, because it happened all at the same time. So when he passed away, dealing with him passing and then dealing with the holidays of not being able to talk to him or see him were super tough and super super hard. But I just leaned into, similar to what you're saying, like the lessons he taught me, and and how he raised me, and the things I learned from him and by his example, and just try and repeat the stuff that I loved with my own kids, and so I just try to think about those things during the holidays, instead of, although how super hard it is, you're not able to talk to him or see him, but at the same time, at least the memory is not as negative, or I don't want to say negative, but
and grief stricken, and
not so bad. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's pretty simple. I mean, for me, how I think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I thought it was good.
Compared to
what is this, a competition?
No.
Everything's a competition, by the way, just so you know. But I'm not tying myself worth to my winning.
I was just going to say that.
Shut up.
I was just going to say that.
Okay. All right. Here is the next story. The next story says, love you guys and the pod. Parent goals for sure. 2 questions about parenting. Number 1, I always struggle with the shoulds. Like screen time should only be X amount. Sugar should only be X amount. Food you give your kids should only be X, right? Did y'all just take all of these with a grain of salt? So she's saying, people giving unsolicited advice, right? Which is the worst, right? For me, when we started having kids, which we, again, didn't know our ass from our elbows.
No, we were kids ourselves.
So I wouldn't just take them with a grain of salt. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I do it. And I'm like, fuck that, dude. What the hell? I specifically remember, you shouldn't have so much screen time, with the kids and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay. And I followed that. Like, I tried to follow that to a T when Dason was born. We both did. And then it got to the point where, like, oh my God, we're kids ourselves. We got to go to school and we got to go to work. What the hell? So if I needed to take a shower and I needed her to be busy, you bet your sweet ass she was in that little extra saucer and watching TV while I took a shower. I took a shower with the door open. I would drag the little, you know what an extra saucer is? It's like a little thing you put them in and then they can turn 360. And it's like on a little, like,
you can bounce in it too.
It's almost like they're sitting in a bowl and then they could bounce in it and walk around 360, but they couldn't go anywhere. They were like sitting in like kind of high chair kind of.
Yeah.
All my kids were in that exerciser and they were doing that. And I would put Cheerios all the way around it. So Daisy would eat it and then she would turn and eat it and turn and eat it, right? So not only did she have a snack, it was like popcorn in a movie.
Yeah.
And then I could take a shower, take a shit in peace with the door open. I could see her watching TV. I mean, so that all to say is like I was listening to it.
Yeah.
I try it. Nah. Yeah. Then when you get seasoned, you're like, dude, and I would always go, oh, okay, hey, something to think about. That's what I would always say. That's interesting. Something to think about. Because I'm never going to tell them, oh, I'm going to try that, because then they're going to call me out on it next time you see it. Did you try it?
Yeah.
Did you try putting maize on their feet or whatever? A poultice? What is that?
Opus.
No, a poultice.
Oh, poultice?
Yeah. Watch, what is it? No, what was it? What was it called?
Grown-ups.
Grown-ups, yeah. Anyway, all that to say is like, take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
So no, because guess what? There is no playbook for how you should and shouldn't raise kids.
I was just gonna say that you're gonna learn as you go, bud.
Yeah.
Like, of course, you're gonna take the advice, just like you said, and then you're gonna either like it or not like it.
Yeah. Well, you're going to receive it,
Yeah.
right? If you take it, that means you're going to actually implement it. And if you don't want to, you don't have to, especially if it's your first kid.
Sure.
Right? So I read a shit ton of books because we didn't have any time, dude. I was like, I wrote, well, a shit ton. One book. What was it? What to know when you're expecting, or I don't know, what to do.
Dummies, right?
It was what to expect when you're expecting.
Yeah, yes.
But anyway, so take it with a grain of salt. Here's your only job. Your only job is to keep your kids alive.
Yeah. Do the best you can do.
Feed them. Keep a roof over their head.
Yeah.
Just keep them alive, dude. That's the number one rule. Keep them alive. They'll be fine.
It'll be fun.
Okay, I'm joking, kind of. But just give them, keep them alive by spending time with them, loving on them, and just doing the best you can.
Yeah, do the best you can.
Because listen, that looks different for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's no such thing as you should do this and you should.
No.
Unless it's like you should not give them poison. Yeah, take that one. That's a good one, right? You got to feed them. That's a good one, too. That's not an option. That's not a light suggestion, right? So things that are deal breakers are like things that keep them alive.
Yeah.
Other things, not so much. Because let me tell you something. I have 4 degrees and I went to law school.
Yeah.
I watched TV like a motherfucker. You know why? Because I was a latchkey kid. And if you don't know what that means, look it up. And I turned out just fine. Right? All my kids watched TV like a motherfucker. Right? They all did. I don't care. As long as it was age appropriate. And let me tell you, we kept that age appropriate for a really long time, all the way up until they were like in high school.
Yeah, we drew the line.
We drew the line because we wanted them to stay kids as long as possible.
Yeah. I dug it. Yeah. Those cartoons they love watching, I dug it.
Yeah. They can quote anything from SpongeBob. I'm telling you. Like, so you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you do what you know is best for you, your children, and your situation, because it's different for everybody. Yeah. And don't let anybody tell you different, that you're doing it wrong or whatever. Hey, fuck off. That's what you tell them. And in your head anyway. And then you just go, yeah, that's interesting. That's something.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And then you do what is best for you guys in your situation.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. I will say, though, I get a little judgy. You want to hear my judgy?
What?
Can I say something that is super judgy?
Sure.
Am I in a safe space? Okay. When I see babies or little kids in strollers or at the beach, and they are uncovered, meaning it's hot as fuck outside, the sun is outside, they don't have a hat on, and you can tell they don't have sunscreen on because they're beet red. That's when I get judgy.
That's no bueno.
You got to cover them kids up. And if you got white babies, if you're white and you're prone to looking like a lobster 5 seconds in the sun, put those long sleeves on that the babies have, and put a fucking hat and shoes on, or socks or something, and sunscreen on your kids.
Umbrella.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Because I think parents forget about that.
I think so too.
You know. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent. Okay. The second part of her question was, I have a 4-year-old boy, and I'm terrified I'm going to somehow end up with a terrible white man for a son. How did you teach Donnie to be kind and empathetic and to recognize the importance of feminism? I really don't want him to end up a shithead. Yeah. That's the best question ever. And it's very, very simple. Yeah. It's one word. Yeah. You teach them this one thing first and foremost, and you hammer it into him. And that's how he's going to end up like a sweetheart, like my sonny boy. It's called empathy. Yeah. You teach your son how to be empathetic to others. And that means you're caring, you care about other people, you care about how they feel, you care about how you make them feel. You teach them that. And then when he gets to be like 13, 12, 13, maybe even 11, you give him Drew's book, let him read that book, and then you just love up on him. Yeah. And you teach him all the time, hey, love is love. Everybody to each of his own. Basically, you're raising him in a way that is just generating a kind soul who is empathetic.
Yeah, one of Donnie's best traits is everyone has a chance. Yeah. There's no everyone has a clean slate with him. Like he doesn't look at anyone different. He doesn't nothing.
Yeah, here's what I know. He didn't get this from me.
It's amazing.
He's always like, well, they were having a bad day. Because I was like, what the hell? Well, Mommy, we don't know what's going on with people. Yeah. Sometimes they might be having it hard at home. Yeah. You know, when he's getting bullied, that's a superpower, right? Yeah. And I attribute that to your kindness. You have the most empathy I've ever known in a man on the planet. And now my son is following suit, right? So, but you don't have to have a man in the household to raise a kick-ass son. You need to raise him to be kind. Listen, there's a difference between being nice and being kind. Yeah. I can be nice. Oh, you better believe I can be nice. Yeah. I can be nice to anybody. Yeah. But that doesn't mean I'm kind to them. You know what I mean? I can be nice to your face and talk shit behind your back, right? I'm still being nice. Yeah. But if I'm kind, I'm going to have a conversation with you and not talk shit behind your back. Right. Make sense? Yeah. So that is a great fucking question. It is. Because many, many parents need to hear this and that question. And raising kick-ass men, right? Teach them empathy. Yeah. I promise you. You start there and work your way around that. Gold. Okay? Great question. I love that so much. Okay. Moving on.
Thank you for that question.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, here's this one. I was biased when I picked this one, and you'll know why when I read it. Right? This person said, I'm turning 30 on November 1st. Nice. So happy early birthday.
Happy early birthday.
Because this will air the day before your birthday.
Yeah.
So when you watch and listen to this, happy birthday.
This is for you.
Yes. So they said, I'm turning 30 on November 1st and suffering from middle child syndrome. That's why I picked it. I'm going to favorite all my middle children out there. Okay? You're all my favorite. Not the firstborn and not the end. not the baby or anyone in between. It's the middle child that I favor the most. Not in my own kids, though. I love them all differently. Anyway, turning 30 on November 1st and suffering from middle child syndrome, I feel a little overlooked by my family. So, listen.
That's the middle child.
You have middle child syndrome. It's okay. You know what? It's a badge of honor. It's a badge of honor because we take care of everybody. We really do.
We recognize it. It's real.
It is real. Yeah. I thought it was just something people said. No. It's 100% real.
It's 100% real.
Ask Drew. She'll say she feels neglected by all of us. Okay. My take on this is I need a little more context. But sure. my guess in just reading these two sentences is it's a big milestone birthday. and we know this because we just celebrated Peely's birthday.
Yeah.
His 30th birthday. But I feel like your parents or your family don't celebrate you in a way that you would like to be celebrated, or if at all. And I get that. That was me. I get it. Right? So it's not really a question. There was no advice question in here. It's just you telling us you're turning 30 and you're feeling overlooked by your family. So I'll give you unsolicited advice. Listen, if you have friends that you can count on, it's okay if you plan your own 30th if no one else is going to do it.
Sure.
If you want, you celebrate the shit out of your birthday because you're the number one person that's going to take care of you first and foremost all the time.
Sure.
You cannot rely on other people because guess what? As sad as this sounds, they're always going to disappoint you. Well, that sounds kind of negative. That's how I think of it. I think everyone's going to disappoint me until they don't. Right? So maybe I need to bring that to Val. I need to work on that. but I mean, for me, and that was kind of like me my whole life. I just didn't feel it. I was neglected, right?
Sure.
Growing up. So I just started creating my own stuff. I started celebrating my own birthday, and I would say, hey, you guys want to meet me here? I'm going to do this. And they'd be like, oh, okay. Right? You know who's like that? And I'm not saying that this person is neglected, but San is always taking care of everyone else. Yeah. So they feel special. Yeah. And then she just takes it upon herself to celebrate herself too. And I love that so much. She just did. Okay, last year when she was 39, she had a big party at her house, and we had a fucking blast. She had a candy bar. Everybody brought food. It was really, really fun. Then the very next year, which was just a couple months ago, or last month, they went to Mexico, and she planned this big Mexico trip for everybody to come and celebrate her 40th. Yeah. Which I thought we were supposed to go, but we couldn't because of tour and whatever. Sure. But we were like, yes, oh my God, that's so amazing. And then everybody in the group did something special for her. They had these T-shirts made. Yeah, I saw that. Said San's birthday. Yeah. And then
so fun.
Had a really beautiful picture of her on the front doing her Marilyn Monroe pose. Anyway, it was really, really cute. Yeah. But here's why I'm telling you this story, because she doesn't wait around for people to celebrate her. She celebrates her own shit, and she's like, hey, who wants to come? And everybody's like, and now it's becoming this big tradition that we've become a part of. And I'm like, hell yeah, brother, that's what I'm talking about.
I love that. I love that.
So if you're feeling like that, make your own traditions. Yeah. I don't know. We're gonna catch you off guard one day, San, and we're gonna throw a really big party for you. And you're not even gonna know what's coming. So stand by, Ghost Rider. But she's so awesome. She helps plan everybody else's shit. Like she's a great cook and she's a great mom dog. Like, dude. So my point in saying all that is
celebrate you.
Yeah.
Celebrate.
Don't wait around for fuckers, dude, because they don't. Sometimes they don't give a shit. Yeah. And if you're in that situation, because we don't have the context.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. If you're an afterthought, or if they just is like whatever, then do your own shit.
I know, man.
Plan your own stuff that would, if someone were to plan it for you, do that. You're like, I wish someone would plan X, Y, Z for me.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And do it like this. And
like
this.
For example, someone like San, she's like, I want to go to Mexico for my 40th.
Yeah.
She just fucking planned it.
And invites.
Yeah. She got a travel agent, and she said, hey, everybody, here's my travel agent. If you guys want to go, hook up with this person. They're going to give you the discount. You pay for all your own shit, and I'll see you in Mexico.
And look at all those people that went.
And there was like, I don't know, 15 of them. There was a boatload. There was like gaggle of them that came. And I was bummed that we didn't get to go. Right. By the way, I think we had talked about that on the podcast. And I invited myself and then didn't go. What an asshole. Promise, Stan, it wasn't on purpose. But anyway, so I would just make my own happiness. Yeah. And then you'll start to see a pattern where people just jump in and they're like, all right, dude, this is awesome.
Just like Santa, you create this group of friends.
Exactly.
That really love you and want to celebrate you, and then it becomes this huge thing. And
the coolest thing about Santa in that regard is like she's like so confident. She's like, I'm gonna rock a party, dude. Who's coming? And everyone's like, what? She's so confident in that. Yeah. I invited myself to her party. You see what I'm saying? She just draws people in with her confidence and just like, I'm not waiting around for nobody.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a party.
Yeah.
What am I gonna do for this party? Oh,
Yeah.
I want to have a party. I want to invite all these people. I'm gonna do this.
Exactly.
I could never do that.
And then she creates FOMO and everybody wants to go to her party. You see what I'm saying? So like, I'm not saying do that exactly.
Sure.
But I'm saying whatever you want, go do it for yourself.
Create it for yourself.
And create the space and the people around you that love you like that. And it doesn't necessarily mean family.
No.
Because let me tell you,
Yeah.
I was in that situation for many, many years, and I said, "Fuck it, I'm starting my own shit."
Not all blood is family.
No, not all family is blood.
Or yeah, sorry.
You have my dyslexia. Okay, cool. So hope that helps. Okay, so moving on. This person said, "How do I go about telling or talking to my sibling to change their parenting ways?"
You don't. You don't.
Tell us how you really feel. Why do you say that?
It's none of your business, man. It's none of my business. That's how I see it. It's none of
Yeah.
my business. That's not my kid. That's not my, like, you have somewhat of a responsibility because you're related. But other than that, I'm not the dad. I'm not going to tell him what to do or how to do it, you know? I remember as a kid growing up and spending a night at my cousin's house because we always wanted, and then the dad had being responsible for me. And I remember feeling that. I remember thinking, that's a big responsibility. You know what I mean?
You were thinking when you were spending the night at your cousin's house, like, my uncle has a big responsibility.
No, not necessarily big, but I just remember because we got in trouble, and the different degree of discipline was different. It wasn't the same. You know what I mean?
You got your ass whooped?
Yeah.
In our culture, it's like, hey, I don't care whose kid you are. I'll whoop your ass if you act up, right? And I'm sure it's in many cultures too. I see a lot of TikToks. That's what my TikTok feeds are full of, like people disciplining other people's kids. It's really funny. And they say it in jest.
Sure.
It's not like the neighbor across the street.
They're actually doing.
Yeah, they're actually whooping your kid's ass because someone else's ass is going to get whooped if I find that out. But so I have a different take on that.
Okay.
I don't think necessarily it's none of my business because that's your sibling, right?
Sure.
You're like, I love you, so I love your kids, but like, damn, you're fucking them up or whatever.
Sure.
So it is not technically, it's not supposed to be my business. But if I see the kid in harm's way, or if I see that they're teaching them fucking racism and bigotry and homophobia and like crazy stuff like that, you better believe I'm going to say something.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're going to listen. They might be like, that's an interesting take, like I just said, right? I don't give a fuck, right? But I don't think it's unheard of or inappropriate to say, hey, can I just talk to you for a second? If you have that kind of relationship.
Sure.
A lot of siblings don't.
No.
But I mean, I didn't, have that kind of relationship. But then again, I didn't even have to say anything. They would see our kids,
Sure.
and they'd be like, oh, I'm going to copy that. Because their kids are locked up. They're locked in right there. You know, they're good kids. They get good grades. They're polite. They're respectful. You know what I mean? But sometimes I have to say something.
Well, all kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But it's a very slippery slope because they aren't your kids.
No.
And you can tell your sibling or siblings, but it doesn't mean they're going to listen.
No.
And they might take offense to it. So tread lightly on what you're going to say and make sure it's not accusatory and make sure it's like in a two-way communication. Okay. You're not talking at them. You're talking with them.
Sure. I was also going to add that. I mean, I could honestly be honest and say if my brother's kids stayed with me like for a summer and I was the man in charge, they'd all be treated equally as my kid. You know what I mean? But as far as telling my brother how to raise his kids or my sister, whatever, or have you, I couldn't do that.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
And let me just preface this by saying, as long as if you're keeping them out of harm's way, then you must say something.
Of course. Of
Okay.
course. Yeah.
But if it's like, they should be vegan or they shouldn't eat sugar. Shut it. It's none of your business. Let them do. As long as you're keeping them safe, and don't go down a rabbit hole and say, well, if it has stuff to do with food, they're gonna die when they get. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
But you really can't. Tate's right. You really can't change their parenting ways if they don't want to. But if you need to keep them out of harm's way,
Of course,
you must say something, regardless of what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
Because then you can sleep at night saying, "I try to protect that kid," right? Yeah. I've done that several times. So, I mean, and here's the other thing: if you have them over your house, like Tate said, then you do the things that you do with your own kids, or what you would do if you have kids, or you had kids, because you don't have any right now, and then show them love, read books to them, do fun stuff with them, because then you become the fun aunt or uncle, right? And then they always want to come to your house, and they'll listen to you, and then when they go back, then they will like see things differently. You see what I'm saying?
That was our house when the girls were young.
Our house was the hub,
just like that,
for everyone,
just like that.
So, and that's why a lot of the kids, that our kids grew up with, they're still friends with us on social, you know what I mean? And they're doing really good. They would ask us for advice. Sometimes they'd come over, or I'd say, "What are you doing? Get over here. What are you doing?" Treat them just like my kids. Get over here. What are you doing? Right? So that would be our best advice. It's a slippery slope. You got to tread lightly, but if you're keeping out of harm's way, you have to say something.
Of course.
Yeah.
100%.
All right, cool. All right, moving on. This one's good.
Okay.
How do you recover from a friendship breakup in your late 20s?
Oh, wow.
Any thoughts?
I'll be honest. You don't really, because you still think about them, right? But it's not as strong as. So you kind of just move on. That's what I did. I just moved on.
Yeah. But it's easy for a guy to say that, though.
You're probably right. I mean, because I'm gonna be honest, I lost some buds during the pandemic. Some friends during the pandemic, and it wasn't. That's just how it happened.
Why did you lose them?
I don't know. For whatever reason, it is what it is. But no, it is what it is. It happened the way it happened, and it was tough. I remember thinking, when I think about it, it's tough. But then those feelings go away, right?
Can I say one reason why you broke up with? I know at least one of your friends. No. Why?
It doesn't have to be. That's not the point. The reason's not the point. The point of it was how I dealt with it. Okay. I kind of just tried to move. I just did my best and moved on.
Well, it's easier for a guy to say, "I just moved on. Fuck him. I don't care."
No, I'm not.
Right? No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying you're saying that. Well, you kind of are saying, "I just moved on. I just moved on." But women foster relationships way different than men.
I agree. Yeah.
We actually care about our friends in a way that's way different than men.
No.
Right?
I totally agree with you.
So for us, a breakup with a friend, especially if it's like a best friend or a close friend or a friend that you've known since you were 5 years old and you're in your 20s now, that's almost, if not worse, than a romantic relationship breakup for us, right? Because we know where all the dead bodies are buried. We know, who was swinging from chandeliers in Mexico. Like we know all the ins and outs, and we've been there through thick and thin.
Sure.
Right? And so how do you just I just moved on from all that? For women, it's different. Sure. We can't just move on. So here's what I will say from a woman's perspective. If it were me, because it has happened to me.
Of course.
Yeah. So especially during the pandemic.
Sure.
I can tell you why some of the people I lost friendships with during the pandemic is because of racism and bigotry. So I have no room in my life for people like that.
Sure.
But I don't have the context of why your breakup happened.
Sure.
But I can tell you this, what I did, you have to mourn that loss. It's just like someone actually physically dying. You have to mourn the loss of your friendship.
Of course. Because
you're going to be so sick to your stomach about it. But what I did was I thought a couple of things. Number one, what value did that person bring to my life, right? And what did I love about them before the breakup? And then I'll just remember that fondly and then not with the shitty person that person is now. Like
Sure.
in my instance, right?
Yeah.
Because the pandemic brought out the worst in a lot of people,
Yeah.
right? And it was just like, wow, I didn't know you thought that. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How long were you friends before the pandemic? Like you think you? So
I don't think it has to be like 25 years. It could be a solid relationship for like 1 year, 2 years.
Sure. So your understanding is you think you know a person, right? And then the pandemic hits, and then it's the total opposite of what you ever thought, and it's confusing, right? But you the damage is done, right? Like you're saying, like it's hard to deal with. You're moving on. Like
It wasn't confusing for me. It was like, God damn. I was gobsmacked.
okay,
I was like shocked.
Right.
There was no confusion. I knew exactly what that person's true colors were.
sure,
And so for me, I'm like, well, it still made me sad. I thought about all the trips we used to take and all the fun stuff and how that person, treated my kids and our kids and, their families, our families together. And that's what made me sad. And then I think, okay, but that's the person that I was in love with as a friend.
sure,
This person over here, I don't know that person.
yeah,
So it's okay. If it has to go, I can't. This is a non-negotiable for me. The racism and bigotry, that is a non-negotiable for me. I don't give a fuck how long I've known you.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Your homophobia, because that was part of it too. It was like the whole shebang.
Sure.
Right? It was racism, homophobia, and bigotry. All wrapped up in one little fucking taquito. I'm like, no.
yeah,
Like, I cannot. I don't care how long we've been friends.
sure,
Yeah.
yeah,
So that's a non-negotiable for me. So for you, my friend, I would say mourn the loss of the stuff that you loved about that person because that's not who they are anymore.
Right.
And if that's a non-negotiable for you and you guys are broken up, it just has to be.
right,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then work on yourself.
right,
You know what I mean? So, and we're operating under the assumption that that person was not a good person for you. But if you were not the good person, you need to go to therapy and get some self-reflection. If you were the cause, well, I don't know. There's no context here.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That like totally flipped the script on me. I wasn't even thinking about that.
Because you never know. You could have been the dickhead.
Sure.
And then now you're like, oh no.
Regret.
Now you have regret. Because and then maybe you took care, maybe you like took advantage of that person and just took him for granted,
Right.
and now you're like, oh my god, you never really know what you've lost until it's gone,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So I'm not sure. If that's the case, lock it up, or we'll be fighting in the front yard. Okay. So that's it for that. Okay. The next one is, and I think we'll end on this one.
Sure.
How did you manage going to school, working, and raising kids? I'm a mom of a 3-year-old in school. I'm in school and I'm looking for a job, but I'm barely surviving right now.
We talked a little bit about this, huh?
Yeah.
Back a few episodes, right? I don't think we really had a plan.
We did.
There was no.
What's that?
Yeah, there was no book that we found.
No.
It was just routine, man. We created habits and routine, and we stuck to them.
Yeah.
Right? Would you believe that?
That's part of it.
That's.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, yeah, because when you're doing all that shit, you have to have a routine,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I think the thing that helped us the most was we had a little village, right?
Oh yeah, big time.
So we had some like really good friends. We had good family around us that were, I mean, not everybody, like most of the people who helped us get through all of those like crazy times were not even, most of them were not even family, like blood related, right? They were the family we chose, right? Which were our best friends. And they helped us with carpooling. They helped us, like my friend Tasha, who passed away.
Yeah.
She was on every emergency card for all 3 of my kids. Yeah. And so like sometimes when I was hustling and working 80, 90 hours a week, and I'm like stuck in Sacramento, I'd call her.
Pick them up. Yeah.
And you were at work. I was like, hey, Tasha, can you please go pick up Donovan from school? Or can you go pick up the girls from high school or whatever? Can you go to their, track meets or whatever? And represent me because I can't make it, shit like that. But so that, I think that was the the biggest help for us. Now, do a lot of people have that? No, you don't. And so having a routine, having a tight ass schedule, and being consistent with everything that you need to get done, that's how you're going to get through this. I promise. So like, I'll give you an example.
I was just going to do one too.
Oh, go ahead. No, I've been talking too much. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to give an example when the girls were young and I used to do laundry.
Oh my God. I was just going to say that. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
used to do the laundry because they wore uniforms, which was perfect because they weren't fighting over what they're going to wear in the morning. We had uniforms ready for them.
Drew still fought.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to wear this shirt. And it's like the same white shirt, but different collar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we would put the uniforms together, iron them, and hang them. And they were ready, always ready for the next
We
week.
did it every Sunday. So there would be literally 10 uniforms hanging, 5 for Drew and 5 for Dace.
Yeah.
And then I would let, like, Drew was always the fashion queen. Even with a uniform, right? She would like have the different socks, or, you know, she would wear a long sleeve shirt under her short sleeve. Like, she would try to make her fashion statement with a fucking uniform the best she could. So I would let her pick out what she wanted to wear, and I would have her make little piles. Now, she was older, you know, well, not that much older. Kindergarten, she started this shit. But getting prepared for the week it was huge.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to keep everything, all the balls in the air. So,
Exactly.
you know, doing, you know, the clothes, getting the clothes ready. If you have to pack a lunch, pack it the night before, stuff like that.
Yeah, we just had those routines in place.
And as your kid gets older, because your kid's only 3 right now, get that kid up to speed. By the time they're 4 or 5 years old,
we start rotating them in the routine. Hey,
I'm like, hey, go pick your clothes out, right?
Yeah.
I didn't let them iron. We didn't let them iron because it was just faster for us to do it. But like, hey, go make your lunch. Go at night, right? Every night, go make your lunch so we don't have to do this shit in the morning. We're ready to rock and roll. Get your backpack ready, put it by the front door, stuff like that. You know what I mean? We could go on and on about
But that's like the simplest way I can think of it is that exactly.
Yeah, it's a routine, staying consistent, and then as your kids get older, enroll them in the process.
Yeah, they understand.
You don't have to do everything.
No.
Some of my friends were like, "Oh my God, your kid's 7. They know how to wash their own clothes." Bet you sweet ass they know how to wash their own clothes.
They know how to separate colors.
Yeah, they know how to do it all.
Whites.
Yeah, they know how to do it. Like we started training them. Yeah, like really like educating them on how to do all this stuff so they were productive citizens of society.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing everything. I'm out making money. You can make your own damn lunch. You know what I mean? We'd go shopping together though, and I'd let them pick out what they want and stuff like that for their food or all that good stuff. But enrolling them in the process actually starts to develop pride, confidence, right? And independence.
Yeah, and then giving them choices.
Yeah.
Not just making them, you got to wear this. Drew hated that.
Yeah.
Especially if it was like the end of the week.
Yeah.
And she didn't like the last outfit.
Which she picked.
She didn't like the last outfit. I go, hey, man, that's all we got left. Everything else is dirty. She'd be so pissed.
Or it wasn't prepared. Like it wasn't ironed or whatever.
Yeah. She'd go dig something out of
the dirty clothes.
I want to wear this.
No.
No.
Or throw it in the washer. If you can throw it in the washer and it can be dried and ready to go before tomorrow, I'll let you do it.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah.
You want to hear something funny? We'll leave you on this. So when Drew was little, she had these pants, and they were called the peach pants, right? They were these cute little, like pants that were like kind of bell bottomed out, like right? They were like bell bottoms, and they were so cute, and she loved the way they looked on her, and they were peach color, right? Which we were kind of skating by because they were supposed to be, you know, you wear a uniform, they're supposed to be tan.
Yeah, tan, blue.
Yeah, and that was it.
And black. Black.
No.
No.
No, that was Donovan.
Oh, just tan and blue.
Yeah, tan and blue. So I'm like, this is tan enough because she saw them in Target and she's like, I love these. I was like, okay, you know, we'll ask for forgiveness later. So I, you know, let her buy. I was that mom.
Testing the waters.
Well, I have a problem with authority. I try to dance on the line of like crossing the line all the time. But she had these pants and she loved them so much, and they were really super cute.
Yeah.
And then one time I bought a pair of pants and I didn't look on the inside, and it had a W on it for, I guess, no, it had an H on it for husky. I didn't know that was a thing. So they were wider pants, right? They're really roomy pants. And I didn't even know husky was a thing. And then I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that word. You know what I mean? It's for big bone kids, right? And anyway, I didn't see it, and I bought them, and whatever. And then she would put them on, and she was like, "I hate these pants," because she was swimming in them because she was a twig, right? And I was like, "Okay, well, just put them away. We'll do it, whatever." But anytime she'd act up, and I was like, "Hey, you want to wear the husky pants to school?" That made her lock in so fast because she didn't want to wear the husky pants. She wanted to wear the peach pants. So anyway, just a little fun fact about Drew and, parenting. So anyway, I think that's it for us for today. Dang it. It goes by so fast.
I know.
So,
and
but anyway.
I loved every single one of them.
I know. There were so many more, but we will get to them because guess what? 45 is going to be a part 2 because your questions are so good and we really, really want to answer them. Now, if we don't get to a part 2, we are not going to do a part 3, but we will answer them
on social media.
On social.
Yeah.
So we'll post your question and we will answer it in a story. Mm-hmm. Sound good? Awesome. I knew we were in alignment. I love it. Okay. All right. That's it for us. And you know what? We're going to end with 2 things. One, we forgot to do our secret handshake at the beginning. And if you're still on Spotify, not watching YouTube, please go over to our YouTube channel. And you can see it for yourself. The last thing I want to talk about is we have 14 days
14
left before everybody goes to vote, unless you're early voting, which we are going to be early voting. But you have 14 days. November 5th, okay, is the last day to it's actually election day.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can mail in your ballot. You can go drop it off. You can, or you can go on the day of election day and go stand in line, which that is exercise your right to vote, you guys. Please don't forget to vote.
Yeah, this is going to be a friendly reminder, probably all the way up until the actual election itself, because we just want to remind you how powerful it is.
I know.
And what a difference it can make.
Oh, man. I just don't want to know the alternative of not voting. Okay, so make sure you guys get out and vote, exercise your right, and we will come back with a part 2 with many more of your questions and need for advice, and the rest we will put on social. Sound good? I'm asking you. Sound good?
Yes, absolutely.
Hello?
Absolutely.
All right. I don't know what he has in that cup, but I'm going to cut his ass off. All right. And that's going to do it for us. That's episode 44. It's in the books. And we will see you guys next time. Love you. Bye. No one's going to take me seriously in this costume. I'm a buck-toothed beaver. I was like, wait, I have something on here. It's his little teeth. Yeah. His little teeths. How many teeths are there? Is there 2?
It's 2. Buck.
Because when I look here, it only looks like one big one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Buck tooth.
You buck-toothed bitch. Beat it, Bucky. Where's that from?
Emperor's New Groove.
No touchy. That's my favorite part of the whole movie.
You're doing it again.
Where are we gonna live? Don't know, don't care. Don't disturb the groove. All right, enough. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1.